I got something I wasn't expecting from Hellblade 1 by Ninja Theory back in the day. It was an amazing visual and audio feat for gaming at the time, but what impacted me most was the story of grief it had to tell, where Senua is such a tortured person that was dealt such a cursed life. And getting to be with her on this journey of grief, self-acceptance, and how to move forward, it was amazing. So when I thought about that the night before Hellblade 2, its sequel, came out, I got really worried. Like, the first game was such a great isolated story, so how do you follow that up without it feeling like it's just like an epilogue, rather than it being a deserved sequel? There's also part of me that really wanted this to be a big win for Xbox, the people that acquired Ninja Theory and are letting them make games like this, and hopefully more games like this. But after playing Hellblade 2, I landed in a few different places. Did the story hit as hard as the first game, and is this a big win for Xbox? Those are the two core hopes/questions that were top of my mind going into Hellblade 2. But when I started it, we have to talk about the thing that, like, this game is going to be known for maybe better than anything else I have played in my life. Hellblade 2 set the record for the most screenshots I have taken through a first-time playthrough of a game. Seriously, the visuals of Hellblade 2, everybody's going to say this. I would be shocked if anybody disagrees with this. There is just nothing quite like it in terms of graphic fidelity. It's insane. Uncharted 4, Red Dead Redemption 2, and Horizon Forbidden West. Those are probably like the three games I think of if somebody asked me, like, what's the most graphically impressive video game you've seen? But here, it's not just the graphics, because those are insane. Like, literally, the details of the textures, people's teeth, like, everything about this game, yes, graphically is amazing, but it's also just the film work of it. There's the letterboxes on the top and bottom of the screen because they wanted it to feel like a movie, and they do that by having good camera work, really great lighting, environments, fog, and just doing all these things that make the world that you are going through as Senua just kind of seamless. It's all shifting and working together to make this absolutely stunning environment that, again, I took way too many screenshots of, just like wallpapers up the wazoo. And in comparison to Hellblade 1, actually, Hellblade 2 has so many more biomes to work with. You got the deserts, you got caves, you got snow, you got water, you got so much different stuff to work with here that just makes the overall visual presentation of this game unlike anything I have ever seen. And that also is helped by the animations into the combat. The combat in this game is some of the most gripped sequences I have ever experienced in a video game in a long time. And that's something also people really wanted to be improved from Hellblade 1. Now, for me, I actually didn't have as much of a problem with the combat in Hellblade 1, but I also recognize it was pretty gamey. You know, it was a very gamey feeling type of combat that, you know, pretty simple. But in this game, it's still simple. You're not playing freaking Elden Ring or anything like that, but it matches what Ninja Theory was trying to do in this game, and that's just keeping you immersed in this experience. There's so much weight to each move. They've scaled it down to making it just one-on-one combat, and I was a little bit taken off by that at first, but now playing it, I could see why, because every face-off you have with literally anything in this game, it feels like a moment. Like, you feel like you are Senua having to block these blows that are literally making her like ankles, and it's just, she can't take the weight of each of it. It'll literally bring her to her knees or down on the ground. And every dodge hit, the hits actually create like a blood slice, and it just all has so much weight to it. That's the way I would put it. Just one word. There's so much weight to the combat this go around, whereas before it just kind of flowed, and it just definitely felt like a game. But like the visuals, the combat did a good job of making you feel like, no, this is authentic combat. And the sounds go with that, between the grunts, the roars, the fires, and I don't have too much to really add to the sound portion, unfortunately. Like, sound was another reason that made the first Hellblade so special. Getting to hear the voices in your head so seamlessly. You obviously play this game with headphones. You've been told that millions of times, but do it. And in this game, you still get those chill down your spine voices going in your ears with like very big ASMR stuff happening. But there's also a lot more. I would say the improvement in sound of this game is just more to work with because of all the different biomes that you are experiencing, whether it's water driplets falling or earth cracking or all these things. There's a lot more happening in this game for the sound department to have gotten to go hard with. And a big part of that shift, too, is the puzzles. Like, there's certain things that the puzzles do that really kind of shift the world around Senua that was another problem people had with Hellblade 1 is the puzzles were lame. And that's where I am in complete agreement. I hated having to do these I Spy ones so much, or the dreaded infinite maze. Like, the puzzles in Hellblade 1 were just not fun. But the puzzles in Hellblade 2... there's at least a good variety of them. Yes, some of those I Spy ones do return, but they've made them much more engaging in ways that also shows off what the next-gen hardware can do, because you can literally, like, kind of shift reality so seamlessly thanks to that SSD loading technology and shenanigans. And it all blends together to make this very powerful next-gen experience. But that all together does not impact what was to me the most important thing: the story. I don't want to spoil anything about this game. There's a reason why I'm not quite big enough, I guess, to get a review code early. Hopefully, down the road, subscribe if you want to help make that happen. So I just binged it the day it came out. I literally made the day out of it, but just kind of very general things to say. This game is easily a follow-up to what was Hellblade 1's ending, because Senua in this game, she is much more simpatico with the voices in her head. Like sometimes she's frustrated with them, but nowhere near on the level of the first game, and it makes sense because of the events that happen in there. But I think if there was kind of a theme for Senua in this game, it's she accepts the losses that she's had, but she can't take any more. And because that there is more, it's causing her past to come back to her. And whenever we think we've moved on from something, we never really do. We'll always have that pain with us. We'll always have those things, those stories, those memories that hurt us. But we choose how to see it, or we choose what we focus on. And for Senua, she's experiencing certain things that are just kind of bringing back that past to her. And I would say that's her journey in this game. But she doesn't have as much to do because the voices kind of are the more prominent person. Milena Juergens, she doesn't, if I said that right, she doesn't have as much to do in this game vocally, but just physicality wise and just facials, she's great in this game. But I think the game relies a lot more on the other characters. Like this is a game that isn't just Senua like the first one. We actually get to meet other characters that Senua interacts with, that she has to listen to, and they are really helpful to give context on the world. You might be able to like vocally chat with me about that in our Discord here. Go to the pinned comment for that. We have these Kibi spaces that are open to the public. So now's the time to answer that question with all this in mind. Was this a well-deserved sequel and a big win for Xbox? The story at first had me of the opinion of no. The front half of this game, I really felt like Hellblade 1 was just such a bigger piece, or more, I should say, emotionally bigger piece to tell. But after sleeping on it, I'm at the point that it's like just about like okay, like this is a sequel to that game. But Hellblade 1 just had such a more compelling story because it was so focused on Senua. In Hellblade 2, there's a lot more things going on, and because of that, we don't have as emotional of a story to tell, at least in my opinion. But Hellblade 2 does follow up on what Senua experienced in the first game and what we learned about her and the growth that she had in that game. It's definitely a follow-up to that and is still continuing her journey. So in that vein, yes, it is a worthy sequel, I would say, but it almost just feels like Hellblade 1 was like a prequel. Like if they do make multiple Hellblades, Hellblade 1 is like the origin story of Senua. And I think that story just had a lot more to say. It's like where Hellblade 1 lacked in combat and puzzles, Hellblade 2 makes up for, but lacks the story. And hopefully, if Hellblade 3 happens, and they can just combine both, that'll be an absolute masterpiece. As for if this is a big win for Xbox, it's an absolute win for next gen. Like in terms of next gen technology, there's no question. Like I legit halfway into this game, I started laughing and I'm just like, what the heck is the Coalition's next game gonna look like? The people that do Gears of War, they're working with the same engine and have been for many years, and that's gonna be like an action shooter cover. Like I can't wait for the freaking coming showcase if we do get to see a glimpse of that. So make sure you're subscribed for that. But in terms of Xbox, this isn't quite the big hit that me and other people were maybe hoping Hellblade 2 would be. Short games are fine. That's not the problem. We have games like Journey, Inside, It Takes Two. The short games are fine. Like this game took me 7.5 hours. That is fine. That's not the problem. I think the bigger problem is that this is an art house game. No matter how much people might want to say it's not, this is an art house game. It's Pentiment from Obsidian, but with a much more appealing look to it and style. But these people at Ninja Theory had a vision for this game that they were trying to make a very immersive experience that was an art house film, but the general mainstream doesn't want that. They want a video game. And with that in mind, Hellblade 2 isn't exactly a traditional video game. Xbox still hasn't earned back that mainstream, general, casual audience's trust back. And the reason why is in the video right here.